afternoon. I'm Erica McElroy with our podcast, Original Bliss, here at Heiress Retreats. We have a very special guest today. I am so excited to have the very talented and wonderful Holly Adams with us today. Holly is an art teacher, and she is an amazing practitioner also here at Heiress and has been for several years. She's taught in our studio here Qigong and art classes together, which have been so popular. People absolutely love Holly's classes, and I love them as well, so thank you, Holly. Holly has also joined us on our retreats because Heiress has had several retreats outside of our studio here. We've been to both Palm Springs and we've been here in Pittsburgh, and Holly has been a very valuable part of teaching in our retreats and teaching art. Our last retreat was in California, and we had a most amazing experience creating mandalas. It was a beautiful. I had someone tell me it was their favorite part of the retreat. So with that said, I would like to introduce you to a very good friend, Holly Adams, and have you get to know a little about her work and what she does here and a little bit about her wellness journey. So Holly, thank you for coming here.
I'm so glad to be here, Erica.
Thank you. I just want to ask you first, what first brought you here to Heiress?
I don't remember the year, but I remember seeing an advertisement for an event that you hosted here with Susan Amorose and Kim Chesney.
Okay.
And I thought, why don't I go? And so I came, and as soon as Susan started doing her presentation, I knew I had to work with her.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was the first time I met her. And then I started doing the Qigong classes that she has here, and I have not stopped. I think it's been maybe 8 years or however long Susan's been here. I've been here with her learning.
That is wonderful. I do remember, was it the Awaken or
I think it was something like that. The focus was intuition, so it had to do with honing your sense of intuition. It was very good.
And when you were in that workshop, I feel like I remember meeting you there. Did we do something with a plant?
We did.
I think we were partners with a plant.
Maybe, yes, because I remember the plant that we had in our group was a very sad-looking flower that looked like it hadn't had water for days.
Yes.
And so we had to think about it and intuit how that plant might be feeling or
yes, we
something.
did. We were partners, and I remember now. It's all coming back to me that was my first meeting with you. Isn't that interesting? That's funny. That's kind of how Heiress works. People come here for so many different reasons, and a lot of it's word of mouth, referral, or just a feeling that they want to come here, and they come and experience an incredible time, or they connect with a teacher or another fellow student, and they just start to come to our events, and before you know it, they're regulars, part of our community, and also practitioners, which is what your journey has been here.
It really has. Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about your practice of Qigong, and also how that has sort of influenced your, how you brought art, the element of art, which is your profession, into that, how you brought those together.
Yeah, so I had no idea what Qigong was when I first started. No idea, but I just knew that whatever Susan was talking about, I needed to learn more about it. So when I first started in her classes, I kind of felt like I was coming home to a practice that made sense to me, because I feel like Qigong is this really beautiful practice of thinking about your inner world, which involves your feelings, your bodily sensations, your physical health, and pairing it with the natural world around you. And it's all about energy, like how energy is and how it moves and your relationship with it. And all of that seemed to make so much sense to me. And I had never really thought about it. But when I started practicing Qigong, it just really made sense to me. And so as you practice Qigong, a lot of questions come up because you're thinking about energy and the movement of energy and the quality of energy. And so I just started having all of these questions, more questions than answers. And for me, it really helps to, as I'm learning, to create some kind of visual for myself. And so I started to try to draw my practice. And so I would go to class with Susan, and then she would say something or we would do something that would kind of grab my attention. And then I would go home and try to draw the experience. So in doing that, it really helped kind of deepen my understanding of Qigong and the quality of energy. And I am still making those drawings.
That is so beautiful, Holly. Is that something that you do regularly when you have experiences as an artist? Is that you feel compelled to draw them?
It has been in the last several years. So my training is as a potter. And I'm very comfortable with creating things in 3 dimensions. But a few years ago, I decided that I really wanted to make drawing a daily creative practice. And so when I started that, maybe I should say when I started kind of tripping through that practice, because it was a little bit intimidating to take on something new like that, my thought was, okay, I'm not a drawer, if that's even a word. But I really felt motivated to do this, and I thought, okay, what do I love? And the first thought came to me was my family. But then I thought, I don't want them to be part of this. This is a different thing. And the next thing that I thought of was Qigong. So that's when I started drawing using Qigong as my inspiration.
That's so interesting. So that became a practice that you did almost in conjunction with your practice of Qigong, it sounds like, together.
Yes.
That's amazing. So what did your first drawing of Qigong look like?
Well, it's really hard to draw energy, especially when you're not, I hadn't drawn anything in a long time. I used to draw with my son when he was little, but that was years. So at first, I just started drawing lines. They were very abstract, and the lines were very repetitive. And I drew that. I can't even tell you how long made those drawings for a very long time.
Wow.
Yeah. And then eventually I started to want to try to, for example, I wanted to draw the elements of Qigong, fire, air, earth. And so then I began this series. So they started out very abstract, and then they started to be more specific.
Are you doing these drawings in pencil?
They started out as pencil. Now they're in color.
Like colored pencils?
Sometimes I guess you would call them mixed media, because sometimes I use colored pencils with other things. So colored pencils, markers, watercolors, a combination.
And what do you experience as you're drawing the lines and then the elements? What are you internally experiencing?
Well, I think that making art and the process of making art is very similar to what people experience when they meditate. So when you read or you're learning about meditation, there's they use a lot of language like quieting your mind, experiencing like an inner expansiveness, and your thoughts falling away. And all of that happens when you're making art. So like when you really kind of get into some people call it getting into the zone or whatever. But when you're art making, like you really do, time stands still. You feel this inner expansiveness. Things get really quiet. Your thoughts kind of fall to the back of your awareness instead of in the front of your awareness. And you're just making.
So for you, art is really a meditative experience.
It really is. And there are other things in my life that are similar, like like knitting or walking in the woods. Like all of that to me is very meditative.
When did you first feel that way? When you were younger, when you were originally creating art as a child, or was it something that you came to as an adult? When, when did you first kind of come to the feeling, wow, this is really meditative, this is really quieting? And maybe you didn't have a word for it, but when did you first realize that?
I think it was probably in college when I was studying. And for me, going into the studio and being there for hours alone was all I wanted to do.
Wow. What a
Yeah.
gift.
Yeah, it has been a gift for me.
Because so many people are searching for that thing in their life that makes them feel that time passes and they don't even know. And not everybody finds that. And the fact that you have found that in your art is pretty incredible. And then to take that then to us and share that with us in Green Heiress and to the people whom are signing up for your workshops is then a gift to us.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that when I started making my drawings based on my Qigong practice, that's when I also started, I offered it to the community here. So I thought maybe other people would like this. So I started doing Qigong, and then after doing the Qigong, like making the art, and then leading people here through that process.
And you're also an art teacher as well, right?
Yeah.
Where do you teach?
I teach at St. Edmund's Academy in Squirrel Hill.
Yes.
Yeah.
And younger students, or what is there?
Yeah, I teach grades first through fourth grade.
Oh, that must be such a joy.
Yeah, most days it's really fun. They
That's
keep me on my
wonderful.
toes, and they're really open to any project that I come up with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of freedom to decide what your curriculum is or what you're going to create?
I do. I've been kind of rewriting our curriculum because I teach art, but I also teach something called the Sustainable Development Goals. And so we don't have a curriculum for that, so I've been creating that.
How wonderful.
Yeah.
Holly, I feel like as a student myself when I was younger, I always had this feeling and sense that I wanted to create art. But for me, when I would go to art class, I didn't feel like you did. I didn't feel like it was like a meditative flow. I felt
Yeah.
pressure to like create something that was good to get a grade on. And it somehow put an obstacle in my way towards like manifesting becoming an artist. And I never really was able to do that. And I almost had my own roadblocks with art, as much as I still really felt compelled to get out there and paint something or do something. And I even have done that with my own children and brought canvases out. And then I look at my own work, I'm like, wait, I'm not a very good artist. So what would you tell people who are afraid and have these blocks about art? Because I don't feel like I'm alone in this.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm really glad you asked it because starting a creative practice is very intimidating. It's not easy. But if you have a practice that you do that you consider like a meditation or a contemplative practice, having something creative that you pair with it can really deepen the practice and really help create an opportunity to have insights into your practice. So I can speak to my experience with beginning using drawing as a creative practice because I was very intimidated. And so what I did is, and I would encourage people to start small and have your expectations pretty low.
Okay, that's good. I like that so far.
Yeah. So start small, have your expectations low and know that tomorrow you can always begin again. So for me, when I was starting to draw, I cut paper into 2 by 2 inch squares because that's a really small piece of paper.
That's small.
And I could fill that space with lines. So I started with that. And I also started drawing just a few minutes a day. So if I drew for 3 minutes, great. And then what happened for me is because I kept at it, even on days when I didn't get to draw, because my goal was to draw every day. But I realized that there were some times that things just got in the way. I would always kind of make up for it. Then when I would draw, I would draw for a little bit longer. And so this practice really grew. And now, excluding the last week, which we've had no power at our house, I draw probably for an hour a day. So it's really grown. And now I look forward to the practice, and I need it, and I want to make sure I always leave time for it in my day.
That is so beautiful. So what I'm kind of hearing then is that people can start wherever they are. It doesn't matter what kind of talent or gift people say that you have, but that it's art for art's sake. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to paint something and hang it on the wall and people are going to come and admire it. It's like, I'm going to do this practice because it makes me feel calm and quiet and makes me feel good.
Yeah, it should definitely be about you and about creating a practice that fulfills some kind of need that you have. And I would recommend that you try different things. Like if you always wanted to try oil painting, try oil painting. And you can look on YouTube and find almost any kind of lesson that you want. But also don't be afraid to find a teacher who can kind of give you some skills and also provide you some space and encouragement to help you.
So have you also, besides the Green Heiress, worked with adults and teaching them how to paint as well or draw?
Yeah, so when I first started my teaching career, my idea was that I would be a college professor. And so I went to school and got all the degrees I needed to be a college professor. And then I started teaching that age group, and I did not like it.
Oh, really? Why?
Yeah. I felt like the students just really wanted me to tell them what they had to do to get an A. And that they really didn't love the learning process. And so I found that really disheartening.
No, what about the little kids?
So when I started teaching little kids, I thought, these are my people.
Aw.
Because they're like really creative and really open, and they love to explore. They have lots of questions, and I have lots of questions. And so when we are in class together, I always say that I'm learning with my students. I'm not teaching them, I'm learning with them, because that's how I feel. They teach me a lot every day too.
That's amazing. If
Yeah.
everybody had a teacher like that, Holly, I think the world would be such an amazing place.
Yeah, but I try, and we try together. And, some days are better than others, but it really is mostly just really fun to be part of the learning process.
So here at Green Heiress, we really want art to become more of an important part of our company, our organization here. And we are creating another studio downstairs. So we're going to have 2 studios. And we've already begun. So we have an open art night on Thursday nights. I think we are doing it now twice a week. We have to take a little break because we're expanding the studio downstairs as we speak. That's why they had to be the people who are doing the demolition down there had to stop while we did the podcast. But we're going to be hoping that we open the next studio in about the beginning of June.
That's exciting.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
But what I'm hoping is for it to be like a blank canvas. So there's hoping nothing in it,
Yeah.
We empty, as we have here, we have gongs and we have we have this whole podcast studio, and we have all kinds of things happening on this floor. The opposite will be on the floor below. We're going to have it completely empty, like a blank canvas. So the goal will be then to invite instructors like you who want to come in and do your thing.
Yeah.
So if you want to come in and teach an art class and impart to people your wisdom about art and meditation, art and qigong, art for art's sake, and the love of just art, whatever medium you'd like to do, we want to make that happen. Is that something that you could ever see yourself doing in the downstairs studio?
Oh, I would love that.
Oh.
Sure, absolutely.
What would be one of the first things you'd maybe want to do?
I think it would be fun to do. In Qigong, there are 5 different seasons, and it would be really fun to do a series of classes based on the 5 seasons of Qigong.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, and you can pull in different elements, and I don't know, different. You could talk about energy, so that would be fun, and that would be over like a course of a year.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love that idea. That's fabulous.
yeah.
So that's something I would really like to see happen more, and bring in an artist community. And even if somebody doesn't think of themselves as an artist, I feel like we're all artists. We're all creators. We can all find our tap into our creative self.
I think that is probably one of the greatest privileges of being human, is that we are creators, and we just have to find that thing that keeps that creative fire burning in us, because it really is like life-giving and life-promoting. And so I would say, if you think painting might be your jam, go for it. Or fiber arts, collage. There are so many different avenues to explore creatively.
Is there something you haven't explored yet that you want to explore?
Maybe doing something with fire.
Oh, okay. Well, that would be interesting. I love that. Holly, when you, I just have a couple more questions for you.
Yeah.
This has been so much fun to have this time together.
Yes.
And I'm so excited to see you again at the next retreat, which I'm hoping you'll join us.
Absolutely.
But what, when you're connecting to your inner artist and your inner creator, what would you say for you would be your original bliss? That's the name of the podcast. What does that mean to you?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is just being in the woods.
Oh,
Just not having another place I need to be or someone I need to talk to, and just enjoying all of the sensations of being out in nature.
that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So you can kind of combine a nature, artist, retreat, qigong all together.
It's really all connected. Like Qigong, the Qigong practice, it draws on nature and it uses the natural world in its description. So it really is like this holistic way of thinking and being.
That's beautiful,
Yeah.
Holly. Well, I really hope and to be working with you a lot in the future and bringing more amazing art projects into our space, and also at the retreats. And just, I personally am so excited to learn from you and to have it be just all about art and being in that presence that you so beautifully describe for all of us. So thank you so much for being part of our community and bringing your beautiful present self to us all here. I'm super grateful for you, Holly. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun.
Thank you.